Hey everybody, I'm Mark Walters with BigFanboy.com, and I'm here with the one and only Ike Barinholtz. The movie is The Oath, or if you're into hashtags and such, hashtag The Oath Movie, and we'll be throwing that out throughout the interview. Dude, thanks for coming to Dallas.
Thanks for having me, man.
I got a chance to see this last week. I really, really enjoyed it, and that's not lip service because you're here. I think this is a very smart movie and at the right time for a lot of people. So, first and foremost, I want to ask you, when you're making a film like this, because I imagine it's very tricky because you're kind of covering a lot of interesting ground that is topical and current without being exactly that. And that's got to be really tricky to kind of do that.
Yeah, I think kind of if you're just straight up taking talking points and the scenarios we're seeing in the news and just put it into a film, people do have a little bit of burnout. Mm-hmm. And I think the trick is to take these big concepts that we're dealing with now about government and overreach and political divisiveness and kind of filtering it into through this family and letting really kind of the family dynamics play out, at least for the first half of the movie. That way you're giving people are primed a little bit, I think, but they're not going in like, I just stay home and watch Fox or CNN or something. So yeah, that was kind of a trick of to let them know enough flavor, but not tell them that you have to, be a news junkie to watch this.
Well, and it does a great job of parody for both sides. Like, I mean, parody of like kind of the liberal sensibility and the conservative sensibility, again, without really mentioning political parties.
I think the worst version of this movie would be kind of like a partisan hackfest, where it's like the liberal guy he's morally right and he acts great. And I definitely don't think the movie takes both sides, but I think it does show both sides.
Sure.
Specifically the kind of bad behavior on both sides and the broken brain syndrome on both sides. And, my character, he's, I think, the most liberal, and he kind of acts the worst and really ruins Thanksgiving and is a jerk and stuff. But at the end of the day, he's ultimately right.
Yeah.
He is right about what's happening in the country and stuff. So we really, I do think that regardless of where you fall politically, as long as you're not too entrenched on either side, I think you'll go and see this movie and first and foremost laugh, but also kind of think about it a day or so later. That's my goal.
I think there's also a great message in there about not letting the paranoia overcome you, and the fact that your character especially is constantly having to watch the news and is so consumed with that he's kind of ignoring his own family and showing what that can do to people.
The central message of the movie is we have to try our best to not let external forces disrupt our internal core.
Right.
I do want the movie, I do think I ended on an optimistic note because I am optimistic about the country. I do feel that America is bigger than a president or a party and stuff, and I do feel like we will come out of this with all right on the other side. So my hope is that we'll still be able to keep those relationships and we don't completely sever them. But at the same time, I don't want to tell people what to do. If you have an uncle who's like, Alex Jones is the best, maybe don't talk to him for a minute.
We went see how far into the interview before we got to the Alex Jones reference?
I feel back because I'm doing Alex's show tomorrow. I'm going on InfoWars.
Oh my god, are you serious?
No, I'm
okay,
not.
all right. I just want to make sure because that would be talking about this movie on InfoWars. Oh my god, that would be a movie in and of itself. So
that would be crazy.
I also love the fact that this movie is very kind of outrageous and there's a lot of hilarious moments. But you've done something which I love is you've made a holiday movie. You've made and a movie we don't get a lot of, Thanksgiving movies.
There is, in my book, there is one perfect Thanksgiving movie, which is
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
The greatest movie. It's the greatest Thanksgiving movie. But after that, there's kind of a drop-off. There's Home for the Holidays, which is sweet and fun. And there's a few other ones kind of scattershot. But Thanksgiving's, for me, by far my favorite holiday. Because you get a really cooked junk food all day, gussied up junk food, and there's a football game on, and it's the most American holiday. And I, like my character in the movie, I have a lot of my family come in, and we all kind of post up together and stuff. And the kind of perennial rule of don't talk politics at the table, it's really harder than ever to do that.
Oh yeah, especially now.
You have to really be disciplined and sidestep it, otherwise you're going to naturally get into it. So I just kind of knew that that the Thanksgiving table alone is just such a great, iconic look and set that I knew that there would be, at least for American audiences, just an immediate connective point where they're like, I got in a fight with my aunt last year. I'm really giving it to the aunts and uncles in this interview.
Screw them. They're not here.
They're not here. My sister-in-law's here, but not my aunt or uncle.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, there's even a moment when you're kind of pulling back from the table and you see that glorious food. By the way, I don't know who set that up, but my God, was that all you?
Well, I give props
Jesus.
to my props master, John Gold.
It looked amazing.
Original member of the band Oingo Boingo.
Nice.
But I worked very closely with him because I cooked Thanksgiving dinner. And so,
Yeah.
like, at 5 a.m. that morning, I got to set with John, and we were chopping herbs and basting the turkey. And that was the one thing that I was really prissy about and precise, where I was like, nope, I'm seeing not enough glisten on this turkey. But I did want it to be evocative and appetizing and make people feel like they're at our table and they're eating good food.
It looks amazing, and also it's great that it goes from that right into the discourse of the family yelling at each other. I want to talk about your cast, because you have an amazing cast of wonderful people and really inspired choices. I love Tiffany Haddish. I think she's great. I don't think she gets enough chances to show her dramatic side, so I was happy to see that.
She's such a powerhouse, and I think movies, when they get her, they're like, okay, well, she's got to do her Tiffany Haddish thing. And I saw her in the movie Keanu.
Yeah.
And I was really taken by her. I was just like, gosh, she's so strong and real, and I was like, I would like her to be my wife in a movie one day. So I always had her in my mind, and the trick with her is, the character of Kai really spends that first half of the movie, it's like a bit of a pressure cooker, where she's dealing with this husband of hers who's obsessed, and he's being a jerk, and kind of forgetting about his duties as a father and a husband and whatnot. And so she's a lot of like internalizing and kind of small, but then when she explodes, she gives us that kind of Tiffany Haddish, like, shut the fuck up, which we really have come to know and love from her. So it was I'm really excited for people to see this kind of other side of her, because she has a very exciting career ahead of her.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
And a guy that I really love that I keep seeing pop up here and there, Billy Magnussen.
Amazing.
So great. Oh my God, that guy.
Originally, that character of Mason, who's kind of our central antagonist, in my mind when I was writing it and early on, I was like, well, I imagine like a craggy old man, like almost like Michael Rooker or somebody, or Stephen Lang. And then Charlottesville happened, and you watch the footage, and you're like, "Oh, it's the young kids I'm scared of now." Great. Mm-hmm. So the character of Mason instantly, in my mind, turned into like a guy in his early 30s, and Billy was someone that was high on our list, but we didn't know if we could get him. I've been a huge fan of his since Boardwalk Empire, and he just blew us all away. Especially his look. It's hard because he's a very handsome man,
right?
And he's quite ugly in the movie. He's got that ratty mustache and those eyes, and he really just he blew us away.
He could give classes on playing crazy, because he's got that, like you say, he's got that unhinged quality about him.
Ingrid Goes West, he was great in that movie.
Unbelievable.
I'd already cast him in this, and then I saw Ingrid Goes West. I was like, yes! But he is someone I think will be a legit movie star in a couple years.
And then I want to talk about your brother, John, who's terrific. Comes from a sitcom, mostly used to doing sitcom stuff, but now he's doing this. Did he find that more freeing being in a film, and obviously working with you?
100%. I knew he was a great actor because, I would go and see him when he would go through the Steppenwolf Chicago training center. I knew he had it, but you come to LA, and unfortunately in LA, if you're lucky enough to get a part he's on a show called Superstore, unless you're the 1, 2, or 3, you're getting few and far between reps and chances and stuff. But I knew he had it. And I also knew that casting my brother gives me a bit of an edge, because there's 35 years of conflict buried in there. You know what I mean? Like, we're best friends, but there was a long time where we wanted to kill each other.
Right.
And there are moments in that movie when we are not playing our characters, and it's me being mad at my brother and my brother being mad at me. So I luckily our producers Sean and Ray were so supportive of him coming on. I think he just did a great job.
He's terrific. And then I have to mention, just because I'm such a sci-fi nerd, it was so cool seeing Bruce Boxleitner.
I thought you were going to say Cho.
Do we want to give this away? I don't know if we want to give this away.
No, please. I thought you were going to say Cho.
But, I love John Cho.
Yeah.
But I love Bruce Boxleitner because, that's a guy I've actually hung out with and played pool with.
Great guy.
He's a terrible pool player, by the way. But he admits it openly. But it was great. It's just great seeing that you peppered this cast with such wonderful people that maybe don't always get the attention they deserve, and he's exactly one of those types of people.
Can I tell you a great story about him
real
quick?
Absolutely.
So he has this very important speech at the end of the movie. It's a bit of a long speech, and he came in, it was just unfortunate because we didn't have a whole lot of time. And sometimes actors over 60,
Yeah.
they have a hard time with lines, They just, it takes them a little bit of time. And he, started, he goes, my fellow Americans, shit. Let me start again. My fellow Americans, I'm here. Why the hell am I here? Give me a second. And in my mind, I was like, no problem. But in my mind, I was like, oh, this is going to be a 4-hour thing. And he was like, I got it. And he goes, my fellow Americans. Perfect take. Perfect.
Yeah.
The one in the movie.
Yeah.
And I go, we can move on. He goes, let me do one more. My fellow Americans. Perfect take. 2 in a row. He's like, great to meet you. And leaves. I was like, what a legend.
He's
man.
that old school Hollywood man.
Old school Hollywood
Those
man.
guys, it's like they it takes them a little sputtering, but when they
once
get it,
like,
they nail
like,
it.
oh, I see why you're a movie star. Yeah,
oh my
he
God,
was
that's great.
Yeah.
Is it hard directing yourself?
Seth Rogen gave me really good advice, which I believe Franco gave him, where he's like, you think you're as an actor, when you're acting and only acting, after a take or 2, maybe 3, you for sure got it. So you'll have that instinct when you're directing, like, I got it, I did it twice, but you don't have it yet because you're outside your mind.
Yeah.
And you're not focused. You're thinking about the stunt tomorrow and the wardrobe malfunction earlier on and this and this and that. So give yourself a few extra takes. So I tried my best to do that. And then it was just lucky that we didn't have playback, because if I'm watching playback, I'm just going to start scrutinizing every micro move. And you just got to, trust the people that you trust around you.
Right.
And if they say, you got it, you're good to go.
Is it also hard knowing if there's a moment or a scene that maybe you particularly love, but like this just isn't going to play, or maybe we're just going to have to trim this a certain bit? Does it make it harder because it's your movie, you're directing it?
I think all those years in the Mindy Project writer's room, you learn to not be so precious and let go. I mean, the good thing is that there was really nothing that I was like, I want A, and everyone else said B. For the most part, we had commonality, and everyone said no. But at the same time, if there was something that everyone was like, hey, this is bad, again, like, hire people you trust, and and they're probably right.
And I also have to ask this: was there ever a time? I love the ending of the movie.
Thank you.
Without giving away any spoilers, was there ever a different type of ending for this?
Well, in my mind, no. But there was a lot of talk from other people saying, listen, the stakes were so high that the ending needs to be bigger and darker and stuff. And I really, it was important to me that we have an optimistic ending, like I said. Mm-hmm. And so in my mind, the ending was kind of the 1 or 2 pieces that I knew every frame of it almost. So again, too, having great producers who trust you with it, they don't cram down your throat like, oh, you gotta shoot it on alt, and it worked, and we were happy.
Well, listen, I cannot encourage you guys to check this out enough. Hashtag the Oath movie, because I promised I would get it in there. Ike Barinholtz, thank you so much, man. It's really a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Check this movie out. You're not going to want to miss it.
Fun time.